Hey everyone, John from Revel here, and today I want to talk about flooring specifically as it relates to high activity spaces. The question I get a lot is, John, I have kids and a dog and an African white rhinoceros, and I'm thinking of getting a saltwater crocodile. What kind of floor should I get? We love the look of hardwoods, but we're worried that means we'd have to get rid of spaghetti. When it comes to the durability of flooring, there are a lot of myths out there, especially when it comes to hardwood flooring. So I'm going to go over some of the more prevalent myths, along with what you should be really looking for if you have a highly active space. Myth number 1, don't go with hardwood flooring. If you have pets and kids, you need to go with vinyl. Generally speaking, vinyl is sold as two different things, waterproof and ultra durable. And the truth is, it's not really either of those things. Yes, it does hold up in high traffic areas, but it's still dense and scratches. And when it does, you can't refinish it or even recoat it. The only thing you can do is replace it, where it sits in a landfill for like eternity in the least biodegradable way possible. On the waterproof front, trust me, if it gets wet enough for long enough, it's gonna break down. It happened in our old office. I don't want to talk about it. The only thing vinyl is really better for is if you're in a situation where you have to clean your floor every day with an auto scrubber. And unless you live in a hospital, you really shouldn't be doing that. The other more serious issue with vinyl, especially if you have kids, is it might not be a great product for a different, more important reason than durability. According to a 3-year study just released about the harmful chemicals found in children by Duke University, quote, children from homes that had vinyl flooring in all areas were found to have concentrations of BBP in their urine that were 15 times higher than those in children living with no vinyl flooring. BBP is a chemical linked to respiratory issues, obesity, and even speech development delays in young children. It's not good. You can absolutely have a wood floor in your house if you have kids and pets. People have had wood in their home for hundreds of years. You didn't just invent kids, but not all wood floors are created equal, so you do have to know what to look for. Which brings me to myth number 2, the harder the species of wood, the more durable the floor is. The first thing people look for when they have a highly active space is the hardest species of wood they can. They think the harder the species, the better that floor is going to be for active spaces. First, a little scientific context for my fellow nerds.
Welcome to Intermission.
Hardness in wood is measured by something called the Janka hardness test. It was named after the man who invented it, Austrian wood researcher Gabriel Hardness test, Gabriel Janka. The Janka test measures the amount of force required to push a half-inch steel ball halfway into a sample of a species of wood. The more force required, the harder the species. Countless flooring websites propagate this hardness equals durability myth by listing the Janka hardness of every species they sell with no other context. Don't get me wrong, knowing the Janka hardness of a particular wood species can be useful, but more often than not, it can actually make things worse, because by itself, it doesn't tell you what most people think it's telling you. It's a little like trying to determine whether or not a food is healthy by only looking at its fat content. Admittedly, I am not a nutritional scientist, but I think you're going to need a little more information than that. So, what should you look for when determining the durability of a hardwood floor? Well, there are really 4 things you need to consider, and I'm going to take them in order of importance. The most important factor is actually texture. I'm going to be honest, you can destroy anything you put your mind to. I don't know you, and I can guarantee that's true about you. I also know you have above average intelligence. Romantically, it hasn't always been easy for you. When you were 17, you waffle iron. The truth is, you're going to live on your floor, which means it's going to get walked on. Things are going to get dragged across it. Things are going to get dropped on it. It's what it's there for. It's a floor, not a piano. Actually, in our house, that also happened to our piano. Sorry, Mom. So you can't prevent life from happening to your floors, but you can have some control over how much it shows. And the easiest way to disguise wear is to have a floor that's textured. Texturing can be a more rustic look, like what you get with hand scraping, but it doesn't have to be. Something like wire brushing can have a very clean aesthetic. You're absolutely not limited to a rustic floor if you want something with some texture. You have options. The next factor that helps with durability is sheen. Sheen is a measurement of light reflectivity on the floor. Simply put, the shinier the floor is, the more wear it's going to show. I could go deeper into the science behind that, but I don't think you need me to. You own some shiny things, go walk on them for a few days and see what happens. The third factor is character. Character is the things in the wood that make it look like wood. The knots, the streaks, the heartwood, sapwood. If you've been paying attention, you probably see where I'm going with this. The more variation in a floor, the less wear it's going to show. The final thing is Janka hardness. Realistically, if you have the hardest wood species you can find, but that floor has a smooth texture with a shiny sheen, it's going to show so much more wear than a softer wood with a hand scrape texture and a low sheen. At Revel Woods, we ask you the activity level of every space. And what you tell us doesn't just correspond to the Janka hardness. We take all of the relevant factors into account and weigh them accordingly. Thanks again, guys. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more from us. If you want to speak to one of our experts in person, feel free to email us at the address in the notes. Thanks. We'll see you next time. I sense a period early in your life where you felt generally misunderstood by others. You had a few worries recently about money. Your progress in this world has not always been as fast as you'd like. This is a hockey trophy.